What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a very interesting video when it comes to the future of Xenoblade, Monolith Soft, the game's size, and so much more that we can expect with the DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So if you don't think this is a full step above Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in every single way, well, we've got some news for you here, what we could expect in the future. Man, I am excited to get into this because there was a huge developer interview in multiple parts where the Monolith Soft development team went over so much good stuff. But before we get into any of that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it here. So the Xenoblade 3 developers on the total content in the game and the walkable areas compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So the developers of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 have weighed in on the huge amount of content that the RPG offers. Monolith Soft's Tetsuya Takahashi, my dude, and Ko Kojima, along with Nintendo's Genki Yokota, weighed in here. Yokota saying at one point that, quote, the amount of content exceeds that of the first and second titles, so it's more than both of those. And if you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or 2 or know about these games have hundreds of hours of content, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 exceeds it by quite a bit here. Now, additionally, Kojima mentioned that, quote, the total walkable area in this game is over 5 times larger than the second title. Think about that for a second. 5 times larger than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which that had huge locales and vistas to explore. Not quite as big as Xenoblade Chronicles X, but now with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it's comparing kind of to X here if it's 5 times the walkable areas of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That is incredible to see. Now, Mr. Tetsuya Takahashi also talked about how much content and saying that this game needs a lot of it. I mean, they went in depth in detail. I'll have, of course, links to where you guys can check that out if you want to see the full interview. But I love to see that they're wanting to pack the game full of content and that the game is larger in every single type of way, shape, and form. Now, if you haven't seen my previous videos talk about what they've done with the tech in the game and how they've improved it, please make sure you check them out. I've done them all recently within the last week or so. I'll have links for those in the chat. But to see Monolith Soft put this type of effort and get this type of budget shows that Nintendo is behind this franchise, because they know that there's a lot of money to be made and they need this type of game to kind of separate it from some of the other games that they do have. There's only one type of Xenoblade game out there. People don't make games like Xenoblade anymore. You don't see RPGs like this. It's just hard to find. So I love the fact that Nintendo is investing heavily into it to where Monolith Soft can get what they need to make the RPG that they want to make, which is why I want to get into the next topic here. And because I'm someone, I absolutely love Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country. That might be my favorite Xenoblade combat system. I think it is my favorite Xenoblade combat system. That was such a perfectly crafted, nice experience. If you wanted to get through it quickly, you could. If you wanted to do everything in the game that you could, it offered so much value for such a good price. $30 if you bought it as part of the expansion pass, or $40 if you wanted to buy it as a physical release. So it was awesome. So I was thinking with this next expansion pass that they're going to do some pretty good things, but it gets even better here, guys, because the Xenoblade 3 devs have stated that yes, the expansion or the content in this game is going to be as big as Torna the Golden Country. So Monolith Soft has teased the scope of the story DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, according to Nintendo's Genki Yokota, he says, quote, we are thinking of making its volume of content as large as Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country. He would later say in the same interview that the DLC, quote, will be quite a high volume of content that will not let you down when it comes to the volume. So that is what I like to hear. Monolith Soft, my favorite developers over at Nintendo, they haven't let me down when it comes to just the overall things. Now, there's stuff that they could get better at, obviously, with like the resolutions and things, but they spent a lot of hard time and work on their engine and getting that with their upscaling type of technique that they have with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which produces a much cleaner image than what we saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and especially if you're someone who's playing in portable mode, which is important for people who only have a Switch Lite and want to play this game. So I'm very happy that they're trying to up what they've done, because Torn of the Golden Country was just incredible. It was an incredible piece, probably my favorite DLC or expansion of all time. So to see that it's going to be that high of volume and it's not going to let us down in that respect is awesome, and it'll be well worth the $29.99 expansion pass price, plus all the other little heroes and other bits that you do get with it. So I still got to get my expansion before I play the game. But there's still one more thing that I want to talk about, and that's the most important here. And I talked about this in a previous video where we had to fight for Xenoblade. We had to fight for Xenoblade even to make it to American soil for us to play it normally. And then it took 2 years after the original release, and it took 1 year after the European release for us to finally get it here in the US. So we fought tooth and nail with Operation Rainfall to get 2 other games as well, but Xenoblade was the big game that everybody wanted to come over. Now, when Xenoblade Chronicles X came out, we supported it. With the low install base of the Wii U, we still supported that game, bought everything, did what we needed to do. With Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the fans super supported that game, where we came out, supported it, bought the DLC, bought Torna, and all of that. There is no reason, especially after this 89 Metacritic, and we're seeing them evolve and get Xenoblade better and better. There is no reason why Xenoblade can't turn into a franchise that gets regular installments like a Final Fantasy, like a Resident Evil, like a Zelda, like a Mario, like a Kirby, like a Splatoon, like anything else that's out there. It's no longer this series that people want to look down upon and say, oh, well, it's not good enough or do something else. It solidified itself and it's earned it, in my opinion. So I'm so happy to see that the developers of Xenoblade want to continue this, because that's exactly what they said with it. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean they can't do other stuff as well. I just don't want to see Xenoblade go away, because it's worth it. We know that it is a high tier franchise for Nintendo. It's got the sales that are rising and rising, and it's also got the review score now to back it up. Even right now at this point, with multiple big releases like Pokemon Legends and Kirby, Triangle Strategy, Mario Strikers, whatever the case is, this is the #1 in terms of Metacritic game released at this point for the Nintendo Switch. So let's get into what the developers said about the continuation of the Xenoblade franchise. So we already heard from Monolith Soft's Tetsuya Takahashi that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a accumulation of the series and a summary for moving on to the next step. However, on Nintendo's side, producer and director Genki Yokoda has stated that he wants to keep the series, quote, going as long as possible. Now, the comment came about in the final section of Nintendo's official interview regarding Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Speaking about the future, Takahashi and Yokoda said this. Takahashi starting off first, quote, "We have talked about the title in terms of it being the accumulation, closure, or summary, but it has been approximately 15 years since we began development of the Xenoblade Chronicles series. I feel that this game represents everything we have done so far and is filled with answers to all our questions. At the same time, we have taken on a variety of new challenges in this work, and I believe we were able to share a glimpse of what Monolith Soft wants to achieve in the future. I think imagining what Monolith Soft's future games will look like while playing this title will be another way to enjoy it. Also, this is the 3rd title in the series, but you can, of course, enjoy it on its own. We believe that both newcomers and those who have been playing the series for a long time will enjoy this title. We hope you will give it a try." Finally, I would like to ask Yokoda-san a question. You mentioned that this title is the accumulation of the series, but am I right to assume that the Xenoblade Chronicles series will still go on? And Yokoda had this to say, quote, "Yes, it will still go on. I want to keep it going as long as possible." And there were exclamation marks behind those, and that is music to my ears. Like I said, I think that Monolith Soft deserves to have this series go on, but I feel that it's going to evolve. It's not going to be the same Xenoblade in terms of gameplay that we have seen before in the previous ones. Mr. Takahashi said something interesting. He said the future of Monolith Soft games, and you can play this game and kind of see what they're going to do. So certain mechanics or certain things that they've introduced in terms of gameplay staples will be continued on in different types or future titles. I personally feel Xenoblade Chronicles will maybe be renamed Xenoblade something else, right? This is accumulation of the Chronicles series. So I think that going forward, they might call it Xenoblade this or Xenoblade that or just Xenoblade whatever, you know? It's going to be something different where they change up, obviously, the world, the lore, the characters, and everything going forward, but it's still going to have that Xeno style, almost even like a Final Fantasy type of situation where, you know, a lot of the games aren't connected to each other, but they kind of have some type of weird lore, maybe shared universes in some type of way, but they're different characters, different areas, different continents, different stories, and everything. So I think that's what they're going to do going forward, and a lot of these mechanics and a lot of the tech that they've built into Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will transfer over, because I'm pretty sure they're working on the next generation of whatever they're doing next, right? Nintendo's next hardware, they obviously have those dev kits, or they have what they're going to be doing, and they're thinking about what they're doing next already, because you have to keep going. You can't just stop when it comes to this, and they're going to make a ton of money off of this game. So this is great to hear. I'm happy to see that they want to keep the series going. I'm happy to see that the developers are taking the time and effort to make the DLC really worthwhile for fans out there and add in that content. And it's great to see that they've upped Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in every possible way, from the quality, the resolution, the tech, the game size, the content, the review score. Everything seems to be much better, and that's exactly what you want to see out of a sequel or out of the next game. And be it on the same piece of hardware, Takahashi has done a phenomenal job with this game, and I can't wait to cover it more for you guys. I'll have a full review after probably a few weeks, and people have played it already, so I'll have a full review just like I did with Triangle Strategy. You know, I don't know how many hours I'm going to put into this game, but it's going to be a lot, and I'm going to have a ton of fun and thoroughly enjoy it, just like I have the previous Xenoblade Chronicles games, because I've been playing it. I'm one of those dudes that have been playing it for 15 years or 10 plus years or whatever when it comes down to it. So I love this, love what they've done, and I can't say thank you enough to Takahashi, Nintendo, and Monolith Soft for making this type of game. So what do you guys think about all this here with Xenoblade, and what is next? The game size, the DLC, what are you looking forward to most in playing the game, or what are you enjoying most if you're currently playing? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.